All right, welcome, Dan. Another Life of a Bowhunter podcast. Got into some life stuff today, building the life you want to live, and then a lot of tags and applications, and just kind of what's going through our heads this time of year and what we're working on. So it was a great conversation, man.
Yeah, application season. It's an exciting time of year, planning, conjuring up hunts that we may possibly do. Of course, the ones that you shoot the moon for, but I spend a lot of time this time of year talking to guys of, what should I do with my points? So it's a fun time and there's a lot to factor in. And so, yeah, great podcast. Once again, the nitty gritty details of application and strategies.
Yeah, you definitely helped me out on my strategy the other day talking with you, so I appreciate it. I was asking you what I should do with my points, and so we're always running ideas by each other. But yeah, you have a couple awesome hunts that you're planning for this year that you tell in the podcast. So yeah, it's I'm pumped for you, man. Sounds like you got some awesome opportunities, and we kind of talk about our game plan and application strategy. But yeah, just another good podcast, man. Yeah, thanks for joining me this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good one.
Yep. So we just want to thank a couple sponsors. We'll get into it. Thanks, Stealth Cam. So I was going through my gear the other day, trying to plan cameras and placement. It's just a way to figure out and scout a unit without having to be there physically. Definitely check your game laws and what's legal in your home state or the state that you're hunting, but they can be a major advantage running trail cams.
Yeah, I use them every chance I can, depending on what state and where I am. I like to have them if I'm, going to be hunting private property or something. I think the laws are a little bit more less restricted. So yeah, just make sure you really pay attention to your state game laws. But yeah, use them when you can, because it definitely gives you an idea of what's going on out there.
Yeah, 100%. So some great cams. They have their cell phone cameras. If they're legal in your state, they have standard cameras, battery packs, bear boxes to kind of lock them up. But it can just be huge for gathering intel on a unit or for scouting a unit. So yeah, take advantage of that if you have a hunt that where you can use them. So I'm constantly trying to think of how I can use them as a tool. So thanks to Stealth Cam for their support of the podcast, and I also want to thank Zamberlan. So man, Zamberlan boots and shoes, they just build such quality boots and shoes. I've never had a shoe stay waterproof for more than a couple months, but the Zamberlans, they individually test each Gore-Tex bootie in water before they sew them into the shoe to make sure they're going to be waterproof. But that's why those things stay waterproof for so long. It's just their quality of craftsmanship and material. It's just great boots and shoes, man.
They really are. And when, as I kind of discussed later in the podcast, when you have a boot that's quality enough that you can wear the sole off of it after 3 years, like I did, and it's still in good enough shape, the upper is still like in great shape to where I'm going to send it in and have them resole it. You have a quality boot. That speaks for itself, in my opinion.
Oh, dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
Especially with those the Vibram soles on them are really tough. But I did the same thing with some of their Velcro shoes, that I just wear all the time to work, and then I'd hunt in them too. And then they're just a Velcro shoe, but I wore the bottoms to where now they're slicks, and they're pretty much my roof shoe because I get such great grip on them. Yeah,
That one.
yeah, that exact shoe.
Yeah, that exact shoe. It's like here we are 4 years later, starting to wear that Vibram edge off of it.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah. No, the Vibrams really sticky too. They just make the best tread on a boot or shoe available, man. They're sticky on slick rocks, grass. I mean, they really help keep me safe out there as well. But boots are such a major gear item for us bow hunters, and Zamberlan definitely fits the bill, man. Those guys are killing it.
Yeah, just like many of the things in the hunting world, you get what you pay for, just like optics. Just like your bow or anything premium, and it's with your boots too. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, Dan and I both like the Salates. You can check those out. They have just different boots and shoes for all your personal preferences. Some guys like a big upper. Some guys like a tennis shoe like me. So there's all different options in there. We like the Salate. I tried the Devereaux this year, which is like an inexpensive bottle. Feels like a trail shoe. I love those as well. So the Devereaux is a good option. And yeah, just a bunch of different options on their site, depending on what your personal preference is for boots and shoes.
Yeah. The Outfitter GTX, the guide, those are like for, late season or sheep hunting, a lot of support, up in the rocks and stuff. So literally anything from a ton of support down to a trail runner and everything in between.
Yeah, and you can save 15% off those Guide Max GTR RRs. Go to the website Zamberlan USA /Eastmans. You'll find them on there. Put in the promo code Eastmans15. You can save 15% on those. And we'll have some other boots and shoes coming up that you can use the promo code. But yeah, Zamberlan USA is the website. So go there, go check out some Zamberlans. They're doing great stuff. So yeah, thanks to Zamberlan. Also, thanks to Eastman's, all their support of the podcast. So we got the magazines, of course, we're writing in. You mentioned it on the podcast. Todd told me it was the best article I've ever written for the new issue of EBJ coming out. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or if that's if that's a dig, because I've been writing for him for about 10 years, but he did really like that article and I had fun writing it. It's all about like bringing out your inner dog. It's like just the mentality behind being a successful bow hunter. So it was really fun to write. Dan's constantly writing in there. I'm always getting great takeaways from your articles as well. And then we've got the subscriber stories. They're just great magazines, man. This is where we both got our start, is writing in these magazines, and we continue to write in them to this day. So fun, man.
It is. Yeah, he came over. He said, "That's the best article Brian's ever written." And he even spelled the right this time. No.
Yeah, it's touch and go with me for sure.
No, he was all fired up. He said he was ready to run through a wall after read that article. So yeah, good stuff. We've been writing for EBJ since forever ago, it seems like. So if you guys aren't subscribers, support us there. It's a great magazine. It's been around. And if you're in to win a free hunt with Eastman's as well, if you're a subscriber to the magazine. So all the perks and benefits and just more places that you can see some of Brian I's content, the magazine, the Elk and the Deer Collective, a ton of stuff on there. We got a bunch of podcasts I'm going to be posting up here soon on both the collectives. So we have a lot there. Hey, we're starting to edit the 2026 Beyond the Grid episodes too for YouTube. So 'tis the season, the work begins, and it is fun to kind of dip back in from the fall and see some of the experiences and relive some of those experiences. And I know that's one thing I'm never going to regret when I'm 85 years old, is I have all these videos that I made in my 30s, my 20s and 30s to have to go look back on. So yeah, some great stuff coming up this year and Beyond the Grid as well.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. And go look at some of the backlog. There's so many great videos that get buried in there. Dan's probably got 25 hunts on there. I've got a ton of hunts. So you can search back there and find a bunch of videos. And then we're constantly releasing them from the outdoor channel, like when we can post them on our YouTube. So there's episodes that you've probably never seen of Dan and I on hunts that were on the outdoor channel as well. So search in the backlog, make sure you subscribe. Some great episodes coming out this year. We're really pumped to share them with you. I think Dan has 3 elk hunts, which is wild. So I can't wait to see those. Dan's videos are always so good. So check out that. You mentioned the Elk Collective. Check out our other podcasts. Ike runs the Eastman's Hunting Journal. I've got the other podcasts, Eastman's Elevated. We've got Wingman. We've got the Western Huntsman, Predator Pro. So a bunch of great listening content under the Eastman's umbrella there. And yeah, TagHub internet research tool, which is definitely coming in handy this year. And I think that covers it, Dan. I think we hit it all.
Yeah, and if you guys have any tag questions or whatever about Wyoming, give me a shout. Email me at dan.p@eastmans.com. And if you have any further questions too about application strategy, you can give Jordan Christensen a call at The Draw. And you can find The Draw on our website too. I think it's, eastmans.com/The Draw. And yeah, get in on that. We're partners with them now, and they're a great resource on not only just like tag application strategy, but landowner tags and everything that falls within the hunting world of acquiring a tag and information leading up to your hunt. So also a good resource.
Yeah, Jordan's great, isn't he? He has a wealth of knowledge. You have a fun podcast with him?
We did. I think we cut it off at like an hour and 35 minutes because there was a lot to talk about. I mean, you know how it is. We could go for hours and hours, but yeah, great guy, very knowledgeable and talks to a lot of guys. So he's actually, a wealth of knowledge, several thousand guys a year he's talking to about tags and applications. So yeah, great stuff.
And that'll come out on the Elk Collective, Deer Collective. You'll put out that podcast?
Yep, that's going to be coming up on the Elk Collective and Deer Collective this week. Actually, it's going to get posted.
Cool, right on. Well, always posting great content on there. Let's get into this podcast, Dan. It's a good one.
Okay, yep, let's do it.
All right, well, welcome, Dan. Bit of chaos this morning. We're going through technical, trying to up our game on the video side of Life of a Bow Hunter. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, kind of having some resolution issues here on the Wyoming side of things. I'm not sure what's going on, but we are going to get to the bottom of it. I have no doubt.
We had to bring the bink guns in this morning. A couple bow hunters can't get it figured out. So yeah, we'll definitely get that dialed in. But yeah, man, good to see you. You've been keeping busy?
Oh yeah. Yep. Staying busy, doing a lot of draw app work and talking to a lot of guys that are, what should I do with my points in Wyoming? That's coming up. Well, the deadline's over now. Today's the 3rd of February. So, yeah, it's been busy in that regard.
Well, you had to field a question from me too. I asked you the same thing. What should I be planning for in Wyoming with my points? Yeah, you're just so knowledgeable in that state and across the U.S., but it's always good to get your insight on tags and hunts and things, especially, you're a bow hunter just like me. So yeah, no, you gave me some good insight into my points and tags as well. So yeah, that's really what I've been doing too. A lot of research, just trying to kind of plan out my season and then make sure I'm planning for the long game, that I'm saving stuff for next year and the year after. And then, playing with all the possibilities, especially like the Wyoming deer, fawn recruitment, bad winter, what guys killed this year, age class. Like, there's a lot that goes into it for sure.
It's definitely like a science experiment or this giant math equation of, all the factors and variables that a guy has to factor in. And, a big part of the conversation that dominates when guys have, maybe more than 5 or 6 points, if they're going for a limited entry unit instead of, a general tag. And I feel like it's the same all across the West from my experience, but a lot of these limited entry units, they've inflated so much the amount of points that it takes to draw these tags that it's like, man, I wouldn't want to burn 13 points on this hunt or, 15 points on this deer hunt last year. My buddy from Idaho drew in Wyoming. And so it's like, you got to really know what you're getting into, because I'm afraid you're going to be up for disappointment in a lot of this stuff, not only in Wyoming, but all across the West, just because of the nature of the point creep.
Yeah. I was hearing Brady Miller talk. He drew the best tag in Nevada. That was his words, on a rifle tag last year. And he was set his sights on a really good buck, and he did, find a good buck, or there was a couple bucks that he was kind of gunning for. But gosh, he scouted something like 20 or 30 days and then hunted like he put his all into that hunt, and he didn't fill his tag on the best deer tag in Nevada, So I think you're right, Dan. I don't draw many of these coveted tags, but yeah, I feel like, yeah, you may be disappointed, or it isn't worth the points, or the trophy quality isn't in there, but there's still some really good hunts, and good animals come from all over these states. So, I'm trying to look at, at states that I normally wouldn't apply for, building a few points there, just for the future in the next 5 years as tags get tougher to draw. And then, I just really like those units that are kind of lower points, but, I haven't drawn an elk tag in Colorado, so I'm sitting on quite a few points there. So it's kind of like looking at what I can get in for the points and a quality experience, have a chance at a good bull. But yeah, anymore nowadays, I mean, looking at Arizona or New Mexico or any of these things, it's like Arizona, it's a 20+ year plan for me, because I need to draw a good unit, or I want to draw a good unit if I'm going to go down there, and I'm not willing to burn my points for one of the late archery hunts. So as I look at it, it's like a 20-year commitment to get a tag down there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you have to have the right mindset when you're dealing with applications, and a strategy, nonetheless, is what's very important because, yeah, the same thing. Like, I'm not going to drive to Arizona or New Mexico just to hunt a bull elk. Like, that's not realistic. And it's not, because why would I drive all the way down there just to hunt a bull when I can hunt a bull in Wyoming or hunt a bull in my home state in Montana? And 2 elk hunts a year is plenty. So if I'm going to travel to Utah or to Arizona or New Mexico, it's got to be, one of the best units in the state, or just at least a unit that has a potential to produce a 350 bull. That's kind of my goal. But that's the other thing, Brian, is every given year is a little bit different. If you have a dry year, you might be screwed. Yeah, I mean, you might be screwed. You might have a unit that historically produces great bucks or bulls, but if you hit it on the wrong year, you might not find quality anyway. So once again, it circles back, and we talk about this all the time, but you're better off to hunt more often in these lower point units than you are to just shoot for the moon or wait 15, 20 years to hunt a hunt. Once again, that does vary too, because maybe all you want is 1 or 2 good elk hunts in your life. Maybe you don't want to, or you don't plan to hunt elk every year. So everybody's going to be a little bit different. Everybody's strategy is going to be a little bit different. And it's just very important to think about these things before you start just acquiring points without a plan.
Yeah, it's spot on, man. And I think it's a mix of strategies too. I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think, I have a strategy to hunt elk every year, and I'm kind of like you. I like hunting elk in one state. 2 states is even better for me. 3 states is too much with my mule deer hunts. For me, you can fit in 3 or 4 states, but for me, I fit in 2 states elk hunting, and I'm good. And so then I'm planning for the future. So not only do I have these easy to draw tags that I love to go on, that I go every year, that has great trophy quality, great elk hunting, but then I've got like the lotto shots in Utah, in Nevada, in Arizona, in New Mexico. For those states, it's got to be a dang good elk tag, because I'm going to have to give up one of my elk hunts to go do it and commit to it. And I just want the possibility at a big one, like you say, a 350 plus or bigger, and so. And then I also have some mid-tier states like the Colorado, like the Wyoming, and everybody's strategy is different, where they live and what they think about things. But, those states, it's like, well, yeah, just mid-tier points. I want to hunt those states quite a bit, and there is a possibility at big ones, but maybe it's not known for, super trophy quality. It's just like you got a chance at 320 plus bulls. There's probably some 350s running around. It's a midpoint draw for those states, so I'll kind of play the midpoints in those ones. So I think it's like a varied strategy depending on where you're playing. And then, like the mule deer is the bulk of my strategy. Like elk, I'll pick up a state or 2, and I've kind of got a long-term plan, but then mule deer is really where I do my plotting and planning, because I've got the early season, the mid-season, the late season, and I'm trying to get at least an early season and a late season hunt every year. So yeah, that's like and then you throw sheep in the mix, and the special species there. But yeah, I think the strategy can definitely be mixed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it has to. I mean, and that's how you have to go about it. Not only on what your interests are, like you said, what time you have available, and then what species that you want to focus on. And then, like, I love all the wild cards. I mean, I've never really drawn like a real coveted, like a wild card trophy species. I shouldn't say trophy species, but a moose, sheep, and goat, a tag, or something else. But you never know when you're going to get one of those sprinkled in there somewhere. So yeah, I mean, there is, from what I've heard, I don't know from firsthand experience, but drawing too many tags can be a thing, and that can be a problem in my opinion. But yeah, it's just one of those things. You can never really predict what's gonna happen, and you never know until the dust settles on who has tags and where you're gonna be and what your schedule is gonna be looking like.
Yeah, I've drawn too many tags before. I think it's good to plan out your season, like the season dates and what you're applying for. So, I've drawn two states that happen at the same time frame, Nevada and Utah, or I've drawn Colorado and Wyoming in the same year. And I'm just aggressive looking for a tag, and then I end up getting both of them. And the problem is it's just tough to put all my effort into it when it's the same 15-day season dates that you have this window to hunt them. And what I end up doing is, scouting them and then running to one unit and feeling like I need to be in the other unit, and then be in the other unit feeling like I need to go back, and end up running like a chicken with my head cut off. And what usually ends up happening is like I'll kill one buck out of those two states, not two, and it's just not giving it the full effort, the full enjoyment that it deserves. And I just feel a bit rushed. And I think I'd be better to like save that state. Like I've learned throughout the years that I'm better to hunt, Nevada this year and Utah next year, Colorado this year, Wyoming next year. And then it saves me into my 5-year plan that now I have something to draw the next year or 2 years from now. But yeah, I've definitely had too many tags during the right season dates and then not made good on those opportunities. I usually end up getting one good buck or one good bull, which usually that's my goal anyways, but I just don't feel like I give the tag, it's due justice, for what it is. So yeah, I've definitely had that happen. And then the special species, man, I apply all over. I'd love one of those tags for sure. You never know when you're going to get them. I'm actually thinking, I haven't played many of the super tags, but I'm thinking of throwing my name in the hat for some of those too, just like an Arizona deer to be able to hunt the desert strip, a unit I'll never draw, or an Arizona elk or an Arizona sheep. And it's like, I look at the money I spend per year applying for all these things anyways. It's like, what's another 50, 75 bucks into a super tag? And they do draw somebody in there. Like they do pull somebody's name out. I just love to have it be my name, but I'm thinking about playing a couple of those this year as well.
Yeah, you have to, I think. I mean, if you, especially, well, I was going to say in the sheep realm, but goat and moose still is just as challenging to draw. And so, yeah, that's kind of a good strategy too, is to get into the super tags or go into the raffle tags at some of the shows, go to sheep show and get in for those sheep raffles. Of course, the Hunt Expo has their stuff too. So there is a fair amount of options. And like you said, most of this stuff is less than 1% chance to draw these tags, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to draw. They always pick somebody. And so it's just, the more times you can have your name in the hat, the better. It's just math, plain and simple.
Yeah, I watched Danny Ferris drew 20 some years. He drew the Colorado. It's the most coveted sheep tag in Colorado, the most coveted archery sheep tag. It's a late season one. It's a really good video. But as I watch it and I look at the odds of that unit, I'd love to hunt that unit, and it grows some of the biggest sheep there. But then I can just get better odds by playing more extreme country. And really my biggest advantage in this sheep world is like, I will go put in for the toughest units, the most gnarly mountain ranges, and go give myself a chance in there. Is it 100% success rate? No, and with the bow and arrow, it's going to be tough, but I just want the experience. So, I can go from 1 in 300 odds to about 1 in 70 odds, which is better than 1%, in the sheep draw, or even a touch better with my points, and so, like you say, do you keep shooting for the stars? It's like in Montana. Do you keep putting in for the breaks, or do you put in for some of these other mountain units? Sure, the sheep maybe don't get as big, but, really for me, I'm looking for the experience. So I watched his hunt. It looked good. It just looked like an easier sheep hunt. Not that he had an easy go at it or whatever, but late season, they're on the faces. It looked like kind of like around developments and stuff, private, public. And I was like, this really doesn't fit what I want to sheep hunt. He killed a great ram. It looked like a great archery hunt. It'd definitely be fun. They're the biggest ones in the state, but I'm like, that doesn't really fit me. And I know I've applied for that unit before, but I think I'll play better odds and put in for more extreme units for sure. And the same can go from New Mexico for elk. There's some really good backcountry units that you can get better odds than you can like the top tier units in the state and still have a chance at some of those big bulls.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have me and Guy have these conversations all the time about, the sheep hunting, and it does come down to what experience that you're looking for. And for me, I mean, growing up in Montana, the essence of the Rocky Mountains to me. And that's the essence of sheep hunting. And the breaks, it's kind of like the highlighted area. Obviously, produces some of the biggest sheep in the world. I've been on a couple of those hunts, but man, it's like I don't think I would for me to burn all my points. I don't know that it's the experience that I'm looking for. And if you've ever hunted the breaks or been involved on a sheep hunt up there, like we call it sheep wars. And we call it sheep wars because it's so competitive. You have all the outfitters that are looking for the biggest rams, and usually the governor tag is hunting in the breaks as well. And so in result, when you have that kind of money thrown at things, then airplanes get involved and they're flying all the time and looking at sheep. And there's a fine line between looking at sheep and harassing sheep too, in my opinion, or just any wildlife when it comes to an airplane. But or a helicopter or a drone, I mean, the list goes on, right? And so when you hear about all the stories over the years, the breaks are just, to me, less and less appealing for the experience. Of course, yeah, big rams, no doubt about it. Big rams, like I said, I've been on hunts. I've filmed a buddy shoot a 185-inch ram with his bow in there. And so it's awesome, and it's physically easy. But is that the experience that I'm looking for? And so I don't put in for the breaks for some of the same reasons it sounds like. And then, every state's so different too, because we have these Wyoming rams down here, and it's a totally different mentality. And rams aren't really, Wyoming isn't known for big sheep. Probably we'll touch one or two that are close to 180 a year, and that's probably like in some of the better units like Area 12, which is over here on the Montana border. Those are Montana sheep anyway. They get that big. But, in the thoroughfare and like Wyoming's native sheep, they just don't get big. Like, 160s is kind of what you're going to go after. So, if you draw a sheep tag in Wyoming and you go with an outfitter, they're just looking for a 7.5-year-old ram. You're not like, the score thing is not anything that anybody talks about. Like, you're looking for at least a 7.5-year-old ram or older, and you shoot the ram. And so, and then in Montana, when you're in some of these trophy areas, I'm sure Colorado, where it's known to produce giant rams, like really studying them and, counting, how old they are and how long they are and really doing the math, and, score is kind of a big deal. And so it's a totally different climate, a totally different strategy and a mental aspect to the hunt, which I can appreciate both. But the one thing I do like too, for me, is, there's in Wyoming, there's really no pressure. And I also want to, and I know you're going to be the same way, I want to draw a unit that it's realistically, like, I'm not going to sit there and be really pulling my hair out trying to kill a ram with my bow, right? Like, I want to shoot one with a bow. If I'm going to hunt an extremely rugged unit, cliffy, and the same goes for goats. Like, I don't want to get like terrained out and not be able to kill something because I'm using a bow just because the terrain doesn't allow it. And so I use that in my strategy too on where I apply for. Like, it's got to be kind of the right country for where I want to hunt with a bow to give me the best chance of killing a ram or a goat with a bow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that all makes good sense. The experience is so much of this too. And yeah, the more mature we get as hunters, like, you kind of realize that it isn't just about a big one. It's about the experience, the adventure, the challenge of it. And yeah, I mean, my biggest deer came from Utah. I probably told you before, Dan, like a 211. It was a great buck, but I didn't like the experience. It was like, yeah, I killed a great buck in there. It took me 10 days. I backpacked a bunch of country. It was like great. But there was just so many hunters on the ridgeline. It felt like combat hunting, that those bucks weren't in their normal routines. And I just won't play that game. I mean, I may, it's like you never know what you're going to get sometimes trying out new Colorado units. But some of that combat hunting for big mule deer up in the high country, that doesn't interest me a bit. So I killed that buck and I started looking for new units. I've never been back there to where I killed that giant, and I saw other giants in there, but it was just, It was littered private public. It was a lot of hunting pressure in and through there, guys working the ridge every single day. I just didn't feel like I got the experience I wanted. It's like, man, I'll go hunt 170-inch deer and be all by myself and be able to cruise miles back into this remote backcountry. Like, that's the experience I love. And so, I've been looking for a new unit, and I found some good units there that I really like. And I'm yet to see another 210 in and through there. And not that, those are pretty few and far between. But to me, so much of it is the experience. And that goes for elk, that goes for deer. It's like, what are you really looking to do? And for me, it isn't just killing a giant one. Like, we talk about it all the time, a trophy, a 350 plus, a 370 plus. Yeah, those are goals of mine, and I'd love to chase bulls like that. But in the same breath, like, I just want a quality experience, and I'll take a lesser animal and a quality experience and a good hunt over trying to kill a trophy, and it's combat hunting and there's guys on the ridge and everybody knows about the buck and everybody's trying. Like, I'll walk away from a buck like that. It just doesn't interest me a bit.
Yeah. No, all these units across the state and the species offer different experiences like that. And I was having a conversation with my buddy the other day. He's 73, hasn't killed a lot of elk, and he wants to go elk hunting. He doesn't have really much for points. And I'm like, well, have you maybe look into a landowner tag? So we're talking about like landowner tags in Colorado, New Mexico. And he's like, well, I just want to go elk hunting. And I tell guys this all the time too, but it boils down to what type of experience are you looking for? And especially somebody with, in the high teens of points in Wyoming, what type of experience are you looking for? Because there's some units that, there's a lot of bulls and you might get into 10 bulls a day, but we're talking like a 280 to a 310, type quality. Just maybe, it's one of the scenarios that there's too many fish in the lake, so there's really not any big ones. But that's an epic experience. But if you don't care about antler size per se, then that might be the hunt for you. But those units always produce older bulls as well. It just, might not be as many. But then again, I mean, you look at any units, whether you're hunting a general tag, whether you're hunting a limited entry unit, still those bulls that are, or bucks that are 6+ years old, they're just few and far between. They're harder to kill. There's a reason why they got that old, is because they don't come out into the open during daylight hours if they're not rutting hard, and you catch them like literally at the right time. And so everybody wants to hunt a 350 bull like we talk, but you have the different styles and qualities of hunts of a ton of elk and maybe not as many big ones. And then you have other units that have like low densities. If you find a bull, the chances that it's a 350 plus, let's say on a good year, are pretty good. It's pretty high. But let me tell you, you ain't going to be sitting there every day looking over bulls. And you might be sitting there for 10 days to find a couple bulls. And that can be boring and not the type of hunt that a lot of people want to spend 17 points on. Like, a lot of people that want to spend that many points on, they want to be into elk every day. They want the action. They want the excitement. They want to be in bulls. And it's like, that's not the reality. But if you do end up hunting a hunt like that, it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult to find quality. So it's all the factors, right? There's all the little things that we talk about. And then, of course, another big one. Do you want to play the private land game? Do you want to be this on-X magician and you're running the boundaries? That's no way to for an elk hunt, in my opinion, for an experience where the hunt is waiting for that bull or to be on public or call them on to public, and you're running the boundaries and playing the boundary game. And then before you know it, you shoot a bull and it dies on private. Then you have a whole nother set of problems on your hands compared to an area that's just all public, or you're hunting a predominantly public, national forest or a big chunk of BLM or whatever. And these things greatly affect the quality and the experience of your hunt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, so true. Yeah, you got to think about that stuff when you're planning these hunts. And it's wild, man. I mean, the draws haven't come out, but it's wild, like the game plan I have built and all the spots researched. Like, there's not going to be many surprises in my draw app unless I, draw one of these miracle tags and have to start studying in. But I kind of know where I'm going to draw and where I've got a good chance. And then, I'm looking at those units and breaking them down and taking past experience, or maybe it's a new unit. But this time of year, it's like pretty well dialed on where I think I'm going to hunt, where I'm going to apply for. And sure, I need some tags and need to solidify some of that. But I bet you're the same. I bet you've got a pretty good game plan built for this season, and probably even thinking about next year and researching. And, some of these draws may come and it may change the game plan, but for the most part, it seems like we kind of know our points, we kind of know the units, we kind of know the species, and now it's just a matter of drawing some of those units. And I mean, to be honest, some of the tags I'm applying for, I have like 2 or 3 states where it's like, okay, I got 50% odds there, I'm going to draw one of these 2 states or one of these 3 states, but yeah, I kind of have my game plan built for this season, what I'll be applying for, what I'll be aggressive in, and kind of trying to build around that. Are you the same?
Yeah, no, for sure. You have to have a strategy, right? For if you want to hunt in the fall, and it can be very challenging, but you have to have kind of the shoe in style hunts that you're usually going to be in your home state, right? Where you're a resident, where you can get at least a general tag or something like that. So you have that, and then you also have maybe some areas that you may draw, you have the points and your odds are pretty good, maybe a 50-50. And then you have the tags that are the long shots in the deal, and then planning all around that with all the hypotheticals. So if I draw this tag, and it's a long shot, season dates are going to work with my general tag and my home state. So you have all these factors that come into play. And so here's one for you, Brian. For me this year, it's kind of a interesting situation to be in, but my buddy of mine, he's a great family friend. I've known him a long time. He's 73, and he wants to buy me a landowner tag in New Mexico this year. And he's like, I want to get you a nice gift for your birthday, and this is what I want to do. And so it's like, holy smokes. And so it's like, it's a weird place to be in too, because now I'm looking at different landowner tags in New Mexico, and it's public hunting there. It's just a way to acquire a tag. And he said cost doesn't matter, and it's like, pick whatever you want to do. And it's like, holy smokes. So now where do you start, and what type of experience are you looking for once again? And so it's kind of a weird place to be in, because I'm like you. Like, I grew up hunting public land, and I grew up hunting just hard to draw, grind out tags if I drew them. Of course, I'm going to take advantage if a landowner is going to give me access. I'm going to take advantage of it. We got to be opportunists in this day and age. And so, and I've done a couple hunts like that, but still, I'm not the type of guy that's going to spend a ton of money for an experience. I'm just not that guy. I would rather, like, if you gave me $60,000, would I go on the most epic Dall sheep hunt that Alaska or Northwest Territories has to offer, or would I do like 4 or 5 other hunts and get in more bow hunting? I would get in more bow hunting. I would do 4 or 5 other hunts. I'd probably go to Africa because I've always wanted to experience that once, but I would probably go to New Zealand like 4 or 5 times. I don't know, or something else. Like, the big money stuff is just, I mean, it's fine. I don't want it to sound like I'm speaking down on it, because that's not what it is at all. But I would just like to hunt a bunch, hunt a lot. And, a massive hunt budget is it's not in my realm. And so, what can I do? What can I do for experiences they'll get me the farthest and the most amount of hunting for the least amount of price, is kind of how my brain thinks.
We're same. Yeah, and I don't want to speak down upon it either. I think it's an amazing experience, and those Dall sheep in Alaska and Northwest Territories, it's always like, a dream hunt. I would love to go do it. And I said when I sold my first house that I was going to go on a Dall sheep hunt. And back then they were about 20 grand. But then I sold my house and I actually had some money, and it was like it just didn't seem responsible for me or my family. And I'm like you, I just like those do it yourself opportunities. I like the self-guided. I like inexpensive hunts. And yeah, you look at $1 sheep hunt now, and you can probably do 10 epic adventures and hunts in the States. Like, that's a lot of years of great hunts. And then too, me and you are bow guys. And so if you go hunt doll sheep, there's no guarantee you're going to get it done with your bow, which is fine. It's an experience, but that's a lot of money to spend to not get a doll and then get hooked on hunting those things and have to go back or try to get more. And good for the guys that can make it work, but for me, I'm the same way. I just like the low cost hunts and stuff that I can do myself, and I like doing all the research and putting in all the work. It means more to me in the end. And really, all the hunting and all the traveling I've done, like, I've been able to do some really cool things, go to some cool places, and I want to do more of that. But really, the funnest stuff for me is deer and elk and having my vehicle and all my stuff. And I just absolutely love it. So for me, it's like a steady diet of that, of trying to draw really good tags and trying to kill big bucks and big bulls. Like, man, that'll keep me busy for a lifetime. And if I can sprinkle in maybe a couple good tags in there, sprinkle in some different species, and then some traveling in the spring or maybe the fall. I do like going to Alaska. I've been there 3 different times. Like, I like hunting there. And so, that might be a possibility. And, I'm playing with that now for, whether it's the 26 season, 27 season, like, putting together I really want to get my Alaskan Yukon moose. I've done that hunt before. I haven't killed one. So, that might be something I do in the future, and I might spend a little bit more money to go do it. But yeah, I don't, you got to try to figure out what's important to you. But doing one hunt, like, money to me has always just meant more freedom. And like, I'd rather, instead of having a 10-day epic hunt, I'd rather have like money in my bank account, have the time to hunt for a month for September for elk, or have, be able to have my bills paid and have the freedom of days. Like, really, my dream season is like what I put together the last few years, like last year, taking all of September, all of November hunting muley bucks. And like, that was a dream season because I got so much time in the field, so much bow hunting action. Like, that to me means more to me than one epic 10-day hunt. But everybody's different. That's the beauty of this thing, is like, if a brown bear lights a fire under you and that's something you really want to do and you can afford it and save up for it, like, good for you. Go get the experience. Or a doll sheep or a whatever it is, that lights a fire under you. It's just like, just the way I'm wired and the way you were wired, and just being like honest.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, like, if I had $100,000 hunt budget every year, like, things would probably be different. Like, if I was worth 20 million or something, I was a multimillionaire, things would probably be different. I would be doing more hunts, but I would, price wouldn't matter as much, And so it's just the reality of being in the tax bracket that I'm in, and the family money that I'm in is not like, not that I'm using my parents' money to go hunting or anything, but you know what I mean? It's just, we're not multimillionaires. And so it's just not our reality. And so I think there's hope, like, for anybody. I don't care how blue collar you are, or how much money you have, or where you came from, money wise. There are hunts out there that you can do that can fulfill your soul. Look, find what you're looking for not much money. And that's kind of how I've lived my life. And, yeah, there's nothing wrong with going over and spending $100,000 and shooting an African lion. I think that's awesome. And if you can afford to do it, because it's probably going to be gone someday. And there's many other hunts internationally that a guy could do, for sure, for, a little bit of money, a lot of money. I looked into going to Spain and shooting an ibex, and what that would cost to go experience the Spanish culture. I mean, just to get going, you're talking $9,000. And if you shoot a big old Bassetti ibex, gold medal one, that can be up in the $30,000. And it's like, I can shoot a lot of animals in Africa for $30,000. And so these are some of the cultural experiences that I'm looking for, that I always, am striving to attain. But I'm still, once again, going back to what is realistic for me, what can I afford, and once again, getting the best bang for your buck. And here's the thing, Brian, we see this all the time. We hear about it all the time, is that money doesn't buy hunting happiness. It can help a lot for sure, but time and family. And if anybody talks, like hear Dan Bilzerian talking or whatever, he's worth 50, 60 million or whatever it is. And just because you have some money and you're doing crazy stuff or what you think is fun to do, are you actually enriched? Are you actually happy? And so money doesn't buy happiness by any means, but it can help, I guess, in a lot of ways. But yeah, time and family, right? I mean, just because you're wealthy doesn't mean you're necessarily happy. And so, yeah, just be happy, figure out how to get happy, however financially that plays into it. That's a beautiful thing about America, and we can get down the rabbit hole on conversations like this. But, go to school, go work a profession that you're going to make a lot of money. And, for me and you, I probably can speak for you too, that, we working the professions that we're working to support our lifestyle that we want to live, and still doing something that we can enjoy and living in an environment that we want to live in. I mean, that's the American dream, right? You set it up how you want to do it, how, you want your life to be. And that's the beautiful thing about America.
Yeah, man. Having passion in your life and something you love to do, like that enriches your life. Yeah, I could chase a lot more zeros and have more money in my bank account, but it's not what makes me happy. What makes me happy is having the time to do what I love to do. My daughter was telling me, she's 18, getting ready to graduate. She just took second in state for speech and drama and debate. She's been doing it for 4 years or whatever. I was really proud of her. But she was talking, and she said her goal was to have more money than me, and she had like her reasons that how she was going to get there, how she was going to do that or whatever. And so that was exactly what I told her. I was like, well, money's one thing, but it doesn't make you any happier. Like, sure, having your bills paid, being able to take your family on vacations. But I said, really what you're shooting for is having a happy life, figuring out, what your passions are, spending time doing that, figure out what you want to do in life as far as a job that you enjoy. Like there's more to life than having money. And it's like the same thing I was telling her. It's like, chase a happy life. Don't chase a life just full of money. Like, money doesn't make you any happier. And she's like a saver, and she's got a bunch of money in her account. She's been saving for college. It's crazy. Like, she had more money than I had when I was 30. It's like she's really good. She works a little waitress job. She worked the movie theater. She watches people's houses. She's got like that work ethic, which is great. And but yeah, I just told her, it's like, money doesn't make you any happier. Like, and hers is a little smaller scale, but it's like, put another, X amount of money in your account. Do you feel any happier? It's like, yeah, you worked hard, you're prepared for college, you're not broke. It's like, yeah, that's a good thing. But, chase a happy life and experiences, and the thing that lights your soul on fire, man. Like that's really what we're trying to, we're all on limited time. You better enjoy the time you have. And for me, making zeros doesn't do it. Like, sure, it affords me to do some cool things and have a nice house, provide for my family, do some vacations. But what really means the most to me is spending quality time with my family, spending quality time in the outdoors, chasing my passion. Fishing these rivers is like, I have a passion for that, just like I have a passion for bow hunting. So for me, really, time is like what is the most valuable to me, is like time to do what I enjoy and not grinding at 100-hour work week, which I've had to do when I build houses and things, when I build personal houses. But that doesn't, it's like, sure, get me to a better place. I'm willing to work hard, but that's not what makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, amen, brother. That's what it's all about. And that's the beauty of the American dream. And, when I hear people that they say that, like, well, I can't do that, or I can't this and I can't that. And it's like, no. That's why I, tell my stepkids too, this I can't thing, like that's just as bad as saying the F word, in my opinion. And it's not happening in this house. And so I think that's so important, is because usually we are our own worst enemies. And you have to have that positivity and have that mindset. And no doubt your daughter has dad's mindset, has dad's drive, and has dad's, willingness to crush it in life. And that's that's freaking awesome. And that's, you know, your legacy being passed on to your children. I think that's probably could be the greatest gift in life, of having your kids, being successful and have that drive, especially in a world with so many distractions, right? It's such a crazy world that we live in. And, thinking about it with my boy, he's 5 years old. And, that's like my biggest priority and my biggest concern that I can think about is he has a lot of energy. Like I see him and it's like, holy smokes, he's exactly like I was. And he's obsessive over things when he's little. And it's just like a spitting image of me. And it's like, okay, so I'm thinking back about what my dad did with me. And, I thought he was a hard ass on me when I was a kid. I won't lie about that, but he worked me, but it's what I needed. It's what I needed. I needed to be worked. I needed to burn that energy on something productive. I needed that work ethic instilled in me, and it paid off later in life. It's just so amazing what these little things that you can teach a child and how long it sticks with them. And so very important things. And so, but yeah, ultimately that's it. Money doesn't buy happiness, but you have all the power to choose exactly what you want to do in this world. And the one thing that my dad told me at one point in my life, I have so much respect for my dad, and I'm so grateful for him. And I had a great childhood, and I am who I am today because of my dad. But at one point, my dad was like, you need to quit screwing around, and you need to just get a job and work, because life sucks and work sucks, and you just need to do it because that's just the way it is. And I'm like, man, there has to be a better way. And when he says you need to grow up and get a real job, I was a hunting guide. I was just out of college. I got a 4-year degree, and I was a guide, and I don't have a grown up job yet. I don't have a career, but I was following my heart. I was following what I wanted to, that made me happy. And you show up every day at work, you're like, wow, it's a beautiful day. You have this positive attitude, and you work hard, you have this work ethic, and before you know it, like, these doors are opening and you're getting job offers and you're doing other things. And then, life is just crazy on how it works and the journey of it. And now I've been with Eastmans for 12 years, and it doesn't feel like I've worked a day in my life. And, but once again, I think back of where I came from and working the ranch and dragging around irrigation pipes around and digging fence post holes. And like, I've put in the time, and I've had the work ethic to put in the time, and I've ended up doing exactly what I want to do, what makes me happy, what I think in my mind makes me happy, makes me enriched, makes me feel, that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And so once I'm very grateful for my dad, but I'm glad I didn't listen to him on that one thing. I'm glad I followed my heart. I'm glad that, and I'm probably lucky too, that I can still channel. I was able to channel that happy-go-lucky, a little bit free spirit, but turn it into a job and turn it into a career. So kind of a rabbit trail, but if there's a will, there's a way, and it goes right back to planning hunts or doing hunts. I like we had on our last podcast that ended up being a little clip on social media. Like, there's no excuse I can't get time off, or I can't do this to go on a hunt. If there's a will, there's a way. You're going to figure it out. If you want something bad enough, if you want to go on that Dall sheep hunt bad enough, this is America, brother. Like, there's a way to do it. There's a way to figure it out.
Yeah. It's not just a saying. I know you believe it, and I believe it. There is so much opportunity here. Where there's a will, there's a way. Build a life that you want to live. And it doesn't have to be working in the hunting industry either. It's like, my path was different than Dan's, where like I worked really hard to get really good at construction, really good at selling myself. I was really into entrepreneurship and building my business. And through building that business, it afforded me financially, but also afforded me the time to be able to spend in the mountains and have my crew cover for me. Like, I built this life I wanted to live. So sometimes, like, you do have to go work hard or work a job that affords you opportunity to go do these hunts you want to do, affords you the time to go on these hunts. And just like Dan's saying, man, anything is possible. And I truly believe it. I came from nothing, and I was able to to build this life that I really want to live. And sure, don't have 20 or 30 million in the bank, but like family's taken care of, I'm taken care of, I get a bunch of time in the mountains. I've built a life beyond my wildest dreams that I get to live out now. And it would be a disservice not to live it to the fullest and go do these adventures that I love to do. But seriously, like everybody out there, no matter what job you're in, what your family situation is, you can build a life you want to live. You can get a second job. You can work on a side hustle. You can work on different skill sets. You can work on investments. Like you can work to get yourself to a better place, get your family to a better place. You can build the life you want to live, whatever that is in your mind. It just may take a little longer than you think, and it's definitely going to be a lot of hard work and bumps in the road. But I truly believe, like what Dan says, America, and they tell you when you're a kid that you can be anything you want to be. I truly believe it here. And especially in today's day and age, like hard work separates you, commitment separates you. Like you can show up and be the very best at your job. You can be the very best for your family. Like you can build a life you want to live. There's still opportunity out there. And I believe it like wholeheartedly, because I've come from nothing and didn't get good grades, didn't get a college education, and I've taught myself how to write just so I could write in the Eastmans magazine. I've taught myself all these skills, that how to run a business, how to be an entrepreneur. Like I just like dedicated myself to it, and I've been able to teach myself. And I'm not the brightest, not the strongest, not the but I've like been able to build these traits that I admired. That I've been able to build the person I want to be, and that's possible for anybody.
Absolutely. When guys say, "Oh, you kill so many animals, you're such a good hunter," it's like, not really. I spend a lot of time. That's all it is. I'm out there a lot, and so I can create the opportunity. But no, it's so important.
Yeah.
The time thing, going back to that, on how you carry yourself, how you live your life, what you make time for. If you work a job that you can get a month off, you're probably going to find success. If you've put forth the effort to work a job and get yourself in this situation where you can take the entire month of September off and come back and still have a job, you're probably smart enough to be a good hunter too. That's what I'm going to guess. But going back to kind of your lifestyle too, and I want to plug Eastman's hunting journals, but Todd, he read your latest article, and I think he called it's going to be titled in the next issue of EBJ, "Release the Dog Within." DAWG. He said, I clarified that, release the dog. But he read your article. He comes over to my office. He's like, "I think that's Brian's best piece he's ever written." He's like, "I got done reading that thing. I wanted to run through a wall. He fired me up. I was wound up, ready to go work out." And he was just like beside himself. And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome, man. I haven't got to read it yet, but I'm going to get on Insight today and go through the magazine and read it." But yeah, going back to, you kind of referenced your background a little bit and working for everything that you had. And, you built the life that you wanted. And that should be inspiring to anybody. Obviously your kids too, but that should be inspiring to anybody. So yeah, I mean, options are endless, ways to make money in America. And with what work ethic is out there in this day and age, I don't think it's very hard to separate yourself from the rest if you have some work ethic, especially in the younger generation.
Yeah. Bring this back around. You said it, Dan, you're nothing special. And I wouldn't say that. Like, I think you're a good bow hunter, really good bow hunter. But I think like everybody, if you want to be a good bow hunter, you can accomplish it. Like, it's just not something that's going to be done in 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year. But this stuff that we talk about on this podcast, so living the bow hunting lifestyle 365, working on all these pillars of skill sets of fitness, map research, shooting, like, you can be a great bow hunter. You can be better than I am, better than Dan is. I can't speak for Dan, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we've just committed our life to it the last 20 years of doing everything in our power to learn these skill sets, to spend the time afield. But you can do that as well. If you want to be a great bow hunter and that's really what you want in life, Like it's just applying yourself. It's working on these skill sets. It's doing everything possible. Once hunting season's here, it's going for it. It's like putting all your effort into that season or that hunt. And like I say, it may not pay off. Like, I am nothing special as a bow hunter. I have duffed so many opportunities. I've found big bucks and big bulls and screwed it up. And sure, I've killed some along the way, and throughout those trials and tribulations and spending all this time afield and so much time and commitment to bow hunting and the craft of it, like, I've been able to get good at it. But I didn't come out of the womb a great bow hunter. Like, this is something I've had to teach myself. Like, I've just learned it. But what I've accomplished in bow hunting, what I accomplish every season, it's possible for every one of you guys, and you can be better than I am. Like, I had to learn through the school of hard knocks. There wasn't the information there was nowadays. Like, you can be better than I am. It's just a matter of will, deciding that's what you want in life and working towards it every day, working towards your goals. And that's, the skills, and also getting your life to a good place where you get the time of field. But you can accomplish it. Like, there's opportunity out there. I truly believe that, every person out there can be a great bow hunter.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Especially in this day and age. Yeah, it's a time thing, and you're a good student, right? I mean, and I'm not saying a good student like you have to get good grades when you're in middle school. That's not what I'm saying. But a good student of the game and being able to understand wildlife, of course, all the aspects that we talk about, but being a good student is really gonna set you apart and really accelerate your learning curve.
Oh, dude, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, student of the game, right? And it's like in all facets of it, but just learning from your mistakes, learning from the animals. And I may not be the smartest guy, but if I can wrap my head around it, like, then I can accomplish it, or I can figure it out. And a lot of this backcountry bow hunting is just problem solving. It like never goes like I write the script when I get on one of these hunts. And we talked about it last week on the Barbary sheep hunt, or maybe it was the episode before, but talked about like figuring out units, like letting the clues kind of point you in the right direction to figure it out. But a lot of this bow hunting is just problem solving. It's just figuring out where the animals are, where the humans aren't, and then trying to dial them in and finding a chink in their armor or a weakness where they can be, where you can get in there and get into bow range and get them killed. But it's a lot of problem solving as well. It's just like critical thinking, thinking about your bow hunting, thinking about the place you're hunting, and then improving from that, learning from your mistakes. But I think that's really what it is.
Absolutely. I mean, you nailed it. That's all it is. And if you have a bit of an IQ and you can problem solve, you're going to be fine. Bottom line.
Yep. Oh, it's going to be fun, isn't it, this year, man?
Oh,
I'm
it is.
fired up, draw some tags and start planning some hunts. It's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, high to draw season, man. It's the planning time. It's a fun time of year. Talking about it, planning all the different options. Who knows what this season's going to bring for draws, and it looks like I'm going to Canada to hunt moose with a buddy in October, so that's going to be a blast. I was up there. It'll be 10 years ago up in British Columbia hunting moose, so super excited for that. That's what life's all about, is the experiences, the adventure. That's what it's all about. And money can buy those things, but how you go about these adventures and your mindset and the people that you surround yourself with make it all the better.
Man, you're putting together an epic season. Yeah, moose in Canada. I heard that New Mexico. I bet you've been researching that thing so hard,
Yeah.
trying to figure out the best unit and the best conditions down there and what you want to apply for. It's going to be a heck of an experience and like heck of a season. So yeah, it is so fun this time of year. Yeah, I enjoy it. Just back to training for me, trying to take my physical fitness to another level. Shooting a lot of indoor right now, a lot of arrows. It's like like a big part of my time right now. And then just like a lot of map research, tag research, playing with the possibilities, getting apps in. Like, I love this time of year, man. It's super fun.
Lots of Onyx right now, looking at different units and elevation and amount of public. It is fun. I geek out with it, and I think back to how enthralled I was with Google Earth when it came out, like in 2005. I spent way too much time on Google Earth, but it's just so cool, the technology and the mapping. And you gotta be a map geek, right? To be a backcountry bow hunter, you gotta love that stuff, love looking at it. And yeah, I enjoy it. It's just fun stuff.
Yeah. We'll wrap up here, but yeah, it is so fun. Like the maps to me too, looking at these units, it's not just finding a unit that produces big bulls or big bucks. It's finding country that fits my style of hunting. And so that's a lot of what that
Yep.
the Google Earth and Onyx does, is trying to find the right unit that fits our needs and wants.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the big thing too. And like, yeah, you can factor in season dates and, weapon types, but it's pretty wild. Like when it comes down to what unit I decide to apply for, it comes down to how it looks to me on Onyx, like with access and land ownership and terrain and how many burns are in there. Like it's a big part of what I apply for. Like I can't imagine back in the day when there was none of that and you just applied for a tag. Maybe your buddy told you to apply for such and such tag and in the state of Arizona or the state of Utah or wherever, and you just applied for it. And then you show up and you're like, where do I even start? Like we're so spoiled and, lucky. We're spoiled with technology and how much we have at our fingertips, on the e-scouting realm compared to what used to be out there.
Yeah, it's so it, man. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm looking at units, I almost have a hunt plan built. Like I don't have it exactly dialed, and I'll look after I draw the tag and really dial in my plans, but I kind of know how I'm going to hunt a unit if I'm applying for it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, you show up to the unit, maybe you've never seen it before, and you're like, this is a lot bigger country than it looks on Google Earth. So you got to factor that in too. But yeah, you can get really a pretty good layout of what you're going to be up against by just looking at an open road map and land ownership and aerials of a unit.
Oh, 100%, man.
Yeah.
Well, always fun. We don't always have a plan for what we're going to talk about on the podcast, but it always makes for a good conversation. So, yeah, me and you will be getting together here for the expo. We'll be recording some live podcasts there, which will be really fun. And I'm sure me and you will be talking bow hunting about everywhere we go. So, yeah, it'd be good to catch up with you and see you at the expo and get some quality recording. So, yeah, man, just want to thank Stealth Cam for their support of the podcast. I was messing with my cams the other day, kind of planning for the future season, taking stock of what I have and how I'm going to set it up to kind of scout some areas. I've got some spots I'm exploring in Montana, but I haven't killed a deer in Montana for the last couple years. So I got to arrow a buck in my home state this year. So I got to work a little bit harder and expand a little bit. So I'm going to of course, cams, you can't use them during season, but can scout a little bit prior to. So look at your game laws, what state you're hunting, but it can just be a huge advantage to be scouting while you're not out there. So yeah, you use stealth cams this year on one of your hunts, right, Dan?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's good to have in the summertime and see, kind of what's out there and what's going on. And in the state of Wyoming, you can't use the cellular cameras, especially during hunting season. And so, yeah, you just got to be careful. You check, every state's a little bit different. Check your game laws, but where and when you can use them, they're very, very handy. I don't care if you're setting up over a water hole or a trail or whatever. It's always good to have an eye out there, especially if you don't have the time to spend a lot of days in a unit, which none of us really do have a lot of time to spend scouting if we're taking off time from work. So yeah, I always use them when and where I can.
Yep, absolutely. And thanks to Zamberlin. Make sure to check out our landing page, Zamberlin USA /Eastmans. You can save 15% off those Guide Max GTR RRs. And also we have promo code Eastmans15. So you can plug that in at checkout to save 15%. But yeah, the Salates really like those, the low cut boots or the shoes, but they just don't cut any corners as far as quality of craftsmanship, quality of materials, just great boots and shoes, man. The Vibram soles are sticky. I love them, man.
Yeah, actually the Salate, the GTX is the talls. I wore a pair of those out I literally wore the soles off of them. The uppers are still in good shape, and I talked to guys at Zamberlan, and they're going to resole them for me because I put so many miles on them. But the boot's great. I love the Slate, the high top, the low top. The GTX is a high top. But yeah, I'm going to resole those suckers and get them back to use. So, I mean, if you can do that, if you find a pair of boots that you can use the heck out of them for a few years and basically wear that hard Vibram sole down to nothing, and they're good enough to resole, you got yourself a quality boot.
Oh man, that's for sure. Yeah, that's wild. Well, right on, man. Yeah, thanks again to Zamberlan, and thanks to you guys for listening in. And with that, we'll check in with you here in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Yeah. See you at the Hunt Expo.